One of the first things you're probably going to start to concern yourself with if you get into a serious relationship with a girl is you're going to want to ask her about her past. You're going to want to find out a little bit about her dating history, and you're going to want to find out about her relationship history. There are ways to do this where things are going to implode and things are going to go horribly wrong, and there are ways to do this which you can actually get some of the information without rocking the boat too much. Now, there are a lot of different ways to handle this, and there's a lot of different articles all over the internet about this subject. But one of the ways that people tend to use now to kind of dig up a little bit of information when looking into someone they're thinking of partnering with or actually are even currently partnered with is using the social networking sites. Whether it's Facebook or any of these other dating sites, kind of getting online and doing some digging and seeing if you can find your own information on the person. I think that we would have to advise against that strategy. The problem is that any of you that are actually in the social networking sphere yourselves know that a lot of things can be taken out of context, and you may find out things that you don't really want to know without having the full story. So it's a dangerous road to head down. What you want to do is really try and open up an open conversation, have a real talk with the person that you're dating. Once you've kind of involved the other person in this conversation, you've relinquished some of the power, and you have no real control over what's coming back from the other side of the table. So you may find yourself getting a little bit more information than you need, and that becomes something entirely new to deal with. What if you find out that the person you're with is sharing some pretty adventurous sexual experiences or dating experiences from their past that don't quite gel with the person that you have sitting in front of you? How do you handle that? I think it's important to keep in mind that everyone goes through phases in their life, and everyone has been through different relationships or any kind of romantic or sexual situations that don't necessarily reflect the person they are today. Now, one of the trickier situations you may find yourself dealing with is if she's sharing too much with you and you're getting some information that might be a little bit too much for you to deal with. The worst thing you can possibly do is walk away from the conversation, feel or generate some sort of level of discomfort in the conversation. That can really be a problem for the other person. The fact of the matter is that what you want to do is, if you're asking these questions, is be open and receptive to what's coming to you. The article that we mentioned, the description below, talks about how communication is key. And that really is ultimately what communication means. It's not a one-sided ask a question, if you don't like the answer, react a certain way. You have to be open to understanding how the other person is going to decide to share with you and what they're going to share with you, and be prepared to learn something that you weren't expecting. So don't ask these questions unless you're really ready to hear the answer. And that's actually really the most important point of getting down into this type of conversation. You really shouldn't start asking anything like this unless you're ready to hear the answers. You have to ask yourself why you're asking these questions. Is it out of suspicion? Is it out of mere curiosity? Are you getting some answers back that might reflect that she's not quite happy with the way things are going in your relationship? If you're getting into this for very constructive reasons and you're in a healthy relationship, that's one way to go. But if you're asking because you're the type of person that might be jealous or insecure, likely those conversations are not going to end well. And she's going to pick up on the fact that really you're not asking this because you're trying to get to know her better. You're asking this because you're trying to see what type of person she used to be before she met you. And those are two very differing opposing points of view for that type of conversation. So the most important thing to keep in mind if you want to learn a little bit about your girlfriend's past is be straightforward, be honest, be ready to hear some things that you may not have been prepared for. And if you hear some of those things, make sure to make her feel comfortable when you do.